Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's free.
Welcome
home from the DR.
Thank you.
Harold is running a little late. He said for us that we're gonna start the workshop.
Okay. All right, well, we'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the workshop. Tabitha, did you have ground rules and?
I didn't get to hear what y'all said in that meeting. I didn't know if you wanted to address this and the timing of it every meeting, and it was gonna be a new thing that you guys were doing every time, from what I understood.
Yeah, there's a resolution, I think. Did you get that, or about the meeting time change that we have on the phone? Okay. And we talked about last time that we would go over the job description because we didn't get that.
Okay, anybody wants to open up the discussion on that? That's fine. I will tell you that the job description was revamped and reworded in, it was given to the clerk for the Board of Commissioners on the 31st of December in 2012. And I've got the notes copy here, but not the clean copy. This is the one that was given to Kim, is the one she pulled up for me. Okay, anybody have any comments? I do. I'll just go ahead and say that one of the things that is very important to me is staying within our budget, staying within our time constraints, and I've made this clear to everybody, of course, eliminating comp time. We have a $140,000 budget to manage, and I feel we're certainly confident in able to do that, and that's my expectation, certainly. I don't know how many of you are familiar with flex time. I am. When I had things come up in my work that were going to pull me longer hours, then I made adjustments to whatever schedules that I had, so that my time fit with what I was asked to do. That's called flex time, and that's how we will be operating our time in this authority. Okay. So we don't have any big surprises that I'm aware of. We have schedules, and we know what's coming up. And of course, there's always the exception to the rule. There won't be many, if any.
Yeah, last year, the only thing I think that really came up for me is that I had volunteers set for the helpline, and at the last minute, they canceled. So I wasn't able to put flex time in for that pay period because that was, the actual cutoff was that Sunday, and couldn't seem to find anybody to kind of come in and volunteer, so that definitely took me over. Because I wasn't just able to kind of attend, I was actually there working the entire event.
I think, Madam Chair, the other thing that we just need to clarify is that the comp time that is being returned at this point is from the previous fiscal year.
Yes, yes.
So we did address the overtime issue,
Yeah.
and we're not having that from July 1 forward. So what is being paid now while the office is closed is from the 13-14 fiscal year. Also, I think you had asked us, Connie, to kind of go through the job description and prioritize what we thought were the essential job functions. I think that was a couple of meetings ago. Does anyone want to start with that, or would you like me to?
Go ahead, Beth. That'll be absolutely fine.
So on the first page, there's there's a general description, essential job functions. My opinion, the very first priorities should be to work closely with the North Carolina Division of Travel and Tourism, the Welcome Centers, the NC Host, Area Chambers of Commerce, North Carolina Department of Commerce, and the North Carolina Department of Transportation to promote Graham County as a tourist destination. I think there's about 12 bullet points here. Second, establish effective working relationship with all members of the hospitality industry and community to include restaurants and retail. Visit hotels and other locations to provide information and promote area attractions. Jointly with board, develop long-range marketing plans, set priorities, develop marketing strategies, timelines and schedules, and determines financial and human resources needed to accomplish goals. The fourth priority, develop information on area attractions and events, researches and recommends advertising in a variety of media for board approval. And that would go, obviously, some of that would be in the development of a marketing plan. 5, coordinates office staff and volunteers to assure complete customer service. 6, coordinates with meeting planners and tour operators to provide information on possible meeting area locations and activities in the area. We've been talking about groups and tour operators in our comprehensive tourism plan meetings. We had the 4th of 6 of those, and that's kind of an untapped, low-hanging fruit that's come out. I kind of combined just above that. It says reports findings and all information at monthly board meetings and coordinates the agenda and meetings with Travel and Tourism Authority Board and maintains the board's bylaws and minutes, acting as secretary. Those two could be combined. 8, prepares and recommends annual budget to the Travel and Tourism Board for strategies and plans, supervises budget jointly with finance officer, works with county purchasing agent for office supplies, submits requisitions to the finance officer for purchase order numbers on all other expenditures after approval from the Travel and Tourism Board, and evaluates advertising, source efficiency, and effectiveness. That, I think most is correct, but I think that since we first started having the budget workshops last year, the development of this says prepares and recommends annual budget, and I think that's the board's
That's a board
responsibility.
function, and we certainly want to keep it that.
So I think we take that out, but working jointly with the finance officer and the board to make sure we're maintaining within our budget. Let's see what I have next. Yeah, on the next page, under other, on the next page at the top, it says recap meetings attend during previous month and regular board meeting, and that could be combined with number 7, reports findings to monthly board meeting and coordinates the agenda meeting. So number 9, coordinates meeting attendance with Travel and Tourism Board and networks with tourism officials from other areas to learn new strategies and best practices. And then prepares press releases on the impact of tourism on the economy and other related topics monthly. I think we should add events and, like the hill climb and other things that are going on. So that was kind of how I had prioritized the essential job functions. It seems like the knowledge, skills, abilities, physical requirements, exposure control, and minimum experience and training, that all made sense to me, and I feel like we have that in our director.
Anyone have any comments or discussions on, that's good, I agree. Anything there, John?
I'm going to make a suggestion that if, in order to maximize Tabitha's time efficiency, what I would suggest is that we look at Skype. If you want to meet with these other, travel tourism people, use Skype, and then, that way everybody can, be at their post and taking care of business, as opposed to traveling all around, the region. So,
one thing, and I'm not sure this was covered in the descriptions or functions anywhere, it'd be good if we have a discussion at every meeting, what is planned for the following month, and determine how important that is and what part of that we can get done, and if there's any that we can't work into the schedule, then we make that determination. And that might be added in the reporting line, okay. Okay, I would agree with John. Certainly. Okay, Darlene, anything?
No, I think it's what it needs to be.
Billy?
Yeah, I think it's good.
No, I'm good with it.
Okay. All right, Beth, if you want to give me your copy, then I will have this, retyped,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Billy's gonna put some numbers down though.
All right, that'd be
Pass it
fine.
down. I see here too where, Tabitha's, given us a copy. I'm assuming these are your suggestions.
Well, just as I reviewed it, I kind of added notes and checked off what I thought was being completed and what things we were kind of in the process of laying some foundation. Because when I came into the job, there were just some things in this that we weren't doing yet, but we have made great headway in some of these items, and we still have a few things, you know, with the help of Mary Ann and Nancy, that we should be able to, by the end of this year, at least have some sort of foundation laid so that all the components to this state director's job description, they should be fulfilled.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? We'll get it typed up and we'll get busy adhering to it and moving forward, okay? Okay, one thing that we talked about at the last meeting was a marketing plan. And I'd have to look at the minutes to see who agreed. I think, John, you agreed to work on that committee, and Beth,
Yes, I'd like to.
and I agreed to work on it. And I'm gonna ask Beth if you would share it. Would you be willing to? Okay. Yolanda, you have time for the marketing plan? Okay, I understand. So, all right. And what I have done, I have partnered with our economic development coordinator here in the county, and also with Tri-County, and have come up with some information that'll help us focus and determine what's important in our marketing plan, and help us to start getting that narrowed down. And this is your very own copy. And some of the things that we came up with, we have, ever since that I have been affiliated with the Travel and Tourism Authority, post 1986 and 87, we have talked about a marketing plan, but we have not ever put one together. So the things that the marketing director of Tri-County, Andy Cable, and I have come up with are, number one, what is the most important aspect of the development of travel and tourism marketing plan for Graham County? And you have three things to rank: retention of existing tourists, recruitment of a new tourist, readiness for tourist opportunities. And then we have to have a list of sectors of tourism that we feel have been most successful. And we've asked that you choose 3 of those, because as you can see, there's about 12 or 15 there. And in getting a marketing plan, it's going to be important to be specific and time-bound, measurable, and achievable. So in that spirit, then we want to narrow down some of these categories. If you see something that should be added to any of these categories, if you would say so, I'll be happy to add that in. The choices for most successful are motorcycles, car clubs, mountain heritage, tourism, music, history and culture, moonshiners, arts and craft, agritourism, festivals and events, mountain biking and hiking trails, Chillow River rafting, recreation on local lakes, hunting and fishing, resorts, dining, downtown shopping, forest lakes and parks, athletic sports and tournaments, Cherokee heritage, music, history and culture, and the film industry. And the next thing that we considered is what outside influences could have the greatest impact on future tourism in Graham County. And I'm going to also ask that everyone do the best you can to narrow that down to 3. And that might not even be doable, but we'll give it our best shot. And I know I've got a competent staff here, so. And those choices are casinos, alcohol sales, Quarter K, Cherokee River release, USFS plan revision for 2015, the Nantahala River, land management, increased usability of USFS and TVA lands for private use, popular decrease or increase, population decrease or increase in Graham County, and I will let you know that our population has decreased since the last year. Catch and release waters for trout fishing, increased involvement by the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians in Graham County, the availability of health care, increase in baby boomers, that's retirees, and population increase in neighboring counties. So, number 4, what sectors of tourism should be focused on for the future development here in Graham County? And once again, we hope we can narrow that down to 3. Motorcycles, car clubs, mountain heritage, tourism, arts and crafts, agritourism, festivals, mountain biking, hiking trails, Chillow, rafting, recreation on local lakes, hunting, fishing, resorts, dining, downtown shopping, forest lakes and parks, athletic sports and tournaments, Cherokee heritage, film industry, and the ATV, UTV for recreation. And number 5, what do you feel is the primary demographic that should be targeted to increase visitation to Graham County? And once again, we'll narrow that down to 3 if possible. Young families, retirees, outdoor enthusiasts, couples, single male, single female, single parent families, low income, middle income, high income, college graduate, and high school graduate. And number 6, what is the target length of stay desired when marketing Graham County? And we're going to ask that you try to pick 2 of those: day trips, 1 to 2 nights, 3 to 5 nights, 7 to 10 nights, and seasonally. And number 7, how long should the marketing plan for Graham County be? 1 year, 2 years, or 3 to 5 years? Now, at the team I was working with asked that we pick one, and I like them all. Because I think we need a short-term plan and we need a long-term plan. So we'll be working toward that for sure.
Madam Chair, I wanted to say that the comprehensive tourism plan that we've been working on, it'll be a 1 year, 3, 5, and 10 year.
Right.
And it is important because you can get things accomplished, and, you know, nobody wants to have a plan that just sits there and
No.
it's so hard to get started on it, so.
Right. A good reason to start with something achievable. What do you feel are good benchmarks for success? Ask that you pick 3. Increased occupancies, tax revenues, increased sales tax revenues, increased traffic counts, creation of new small tourism-based businesses, increased visits to the Welcome Center, number of new jobs in the tourism industry, retention of existing tourism businesses, increase in building of seasonal rental residences and lodging, increase in temporary permits for outdoor recreation, fishing, hunting, and rafting. Number 9, what current destination do you feel is a good model for Graham County to emulate? And I'm going to ask you to choose your 2 favorite here: Gatlinburg, Tennessee; Helen, Georgia; Bryson City, North Carolina; Waynesville, North Carolina; Maggie Valley, North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, Hiawassee, Georgia, Boone, North Carolina, Sturgis, South Dakota. That's a wonderful little town that's turned into a retiree mecca that we've looked at a little bit, but look it up on Facebook and you'll like what you see. Okay?
Sturgis is? You
Stur-
said Sturgis?
Sturgis, South Dakota. Breckenridge, Colorado, we're thinking big. Hatfield and McCoy Trail Systems, West Virginia and Kentucky. And if there's others, then we'd ask that you add those. And what do you feel is the greatest competition for tourism dollars in Graham County? And pick two. Those are pretty much the same choices there. Number 11, from what locations do you believe visitors to Graham County are coming? Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, the Northeast, the Midwest, Western area, Texas, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Europe, Asheville, neighboring counties, West Virginia, Alabama, Virginia, and South Carolina. Number 12, what do you feel have been the most important partners for Graham County tourism? And I'm going to ask you to pick three, hopefully here. The choices are great. Graham County government, town of Robbinsville, town of Fontana Dam, town of Centetla, USFS, state of North Carolina, Region A, Smoky Mountain Hosts, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, TVA, Brookfield, motorcycle and car clubs, neighboring counties, the NOC, Graham County Travel and Tourism. Now, if there's others or anything that you felt has really made an impact on tourism that's not listed there, I certainly would want to hear it, okay? Number 13. What do you feel could in the future be the most important partners for Graham County tourism development? Or who? Pick three. Graham County government, great. Town of Robbinsville, town of Fontana Dam, town of Centetla, United States Forest Service, state of North Carolina, Region A, Smoky Mountain Hosts, Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, TVA, Brookfield, motorcycle and car clubs, neighboring counties. List the ones that you think are the most important. NOC, Graham County Travel and Tourism. Number 14. What do you feel has been the most effective advertising dollars spent for Graham County? Choose three. Webpage for travel and tourism, the Welcome Center, magazines, word of mouth, direct marketing, brochures, billboards, involvement with other tourism associations, radio, TV, newspaper, social media, emails, events, and trade shows. Number 15, what do you feel would be the most effective way to spend advertising dollars for Graham County in the future? Please choose your top three. Webpage for travel and tourism, the Welcome Center, magazines, word of mouth, direct marketing, brochures, billboards, involvement with other tourism associations, radio, TV, newspapers, social media, emails, events, and trade shows. Does anybody have any comments or discussions on anything that I've covered here? As best we could tell in working this out, it's a fairly complete list, and it in fact might be a little lengthy. So, which is why we're asking that the choices be narrowed down so that we can gain a focus.
You got another copy?
Yeah, I did it, sorry.
And then what are we gonna do with this information
Once we compile the information, I suggest that our marketing team meet and compile what you all feel is important and start forming the groundwork and foundation for a marketing plan.
When are we gonna fill these out? Turn back in. Now?
We got 30 minutes. That'd be fine. If you want to fill them out right now, that'd be awesome. The sooner we get started, the sooner we get done, John.
I like that.
The reason I asked that, Connie, we're gonna be hopefully bidding on another project up in Silver. There are off-road trails out towards Colloquy
Yes.
there's a whole system down in Upark, that's about an hour east of Charlotte, that we worked on before. Jake and one of his buddies went this past weekend to a place east of Atlanta. I think that one's on private land though. But I think right here on number 3, what outside influences can have the greatest impact, I think that would be a big factor right there. But how willing is the Forest Service going to be to work with us, do you think?
Up to this day, not at all,
Not at all.
but we haven't stopped asking, okay? And we will continue to ask. And I will be in Washington next week, and this is one of the things that I'm going to be addressing with Senator Burr and Congressman Meadows, both, with information about this county, our unemployment, our per capita income, our loss of population. That we're a tier 1 county in the struggles that we face every day here. And also the fact that 76% of this entire county is held in those lands. Other states have made some progress with the Forest Service and the National Park Service.
So the one I was talking about is still,
Right.
those are nice drills up there, so.
Well, you've got Durham Town and Georgia.
That's
Yes.
what they do then. Is that
You've got
Forest
Del-
Service land or is that private?
You've got private land in Durham Town, Tellico.
Tennessee.
That's just over in,
The Hill, Cherry-Hill,
that's in Herman.
the Tellico.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Durham Town of, in Tellico, Murray. But the success story, for everybody is West Virginia, which was on its heels, and they're doing economically, they're doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
He had a whole bunch of information on that in the other pictures, so that you could take that and show them.
Yeah.
Here's what's happening in these places. The biggest thing we hear from them is that because 76% of the county is Forest Service owned, with their limited budget, and I know firsthand how their budgets have been cut. Or we know in the maintenance that we're not
Sure.
seeing with the
We don't have
bathrooms
enough
and
workers
whatnot.
for them to tend the land that they own here.
That's their reasoning, keeping the gates on the roads and stuff, it's just they
But
don't
you
have.
turn that into a business opportunity, which is, a pay for play,
Yes.
make an economically viable situation, where they do get revenues. And then they can also recruit volunteers that adopt a road, take care of the trail, whatever. People would love to do that. Jeeps, ATVs,
And I know.
dual sportists.
And over the years, that has been a big sport in this county.
Oh, sure.
And it's just so closed down on us right
But
now.
I know with the Tellico trails, when they closed those down, they were being pressured by Trout Unlimited. Trout Unlimited was gonna sue the Forest Service for those things were spilling oils and gases and stuff into the stream supposedly. So they have those factors that they have to deal with also. But still, again, 76% of the county, surely they could spare a little bit of land. Something that would help the economy.
Madam Chair, did you say you're the chair of the marketing committee? Or you're asking, that's what I thought. And so then it'd be Darlene, myself, you, John.
You're gonna have to keep minutes. If you have court, you have to keep
Okay,
minutes.
I think it'd be good to keep minutes, yeah.
Sure. Billy, would you be okay to serve on that committee too?
Is it gonna be benefiting? Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do something, too.
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
Okay.
The pay's not
That
too
would be
good.
of benefit.
No.
Pay's not too good, but the benefits.
Yeah.
Pay's not real good.
No. Well, since on the agenda, Madam Chair, we have the presentation by Nancy, Tabitha, and Mary Ann. Can we, as the chair, can I be responsible to collect these from folks prior to our, when I set, we set a schedule for the marketing committee, and then,
Sure.
okay.
Please do. And the information that Ravonda was sharing, let her give you those sources and
Okay.
resources to pull up so that we can take a look at those when we're forming a plan.
That would be good. And then I might also suggest, or open up for discussion, in number 2, and then I think we have somewhere else in here, if we're talking motorcycles and car clubs, it is a motor tourism. It's motor tourism. If we combine those, I mean, we can spell it out, motorcycles
Okay.
and car clubs, or we can call it motor tourism. And, you know, some of these other things, like cultural heritage tourism, like, arts and crafts and agritourism would kind of go in there. So
Great.
we'll kind
I'll
of,
narrow them down.
it might be easier to pick three if
If we
we
had them
lumped them into.
consolidated.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I could work on that as the chair, and then, I'll just be responsible for getting the info from everybody.
That'd be fine. And probably we need to meet again before the month is up to begin moving forward. So if you could find a time when we can all get together, Beth, just give us all a call or email or something and see when we can meet.
Okay, I'll give you a few dates and
That's
we'll
fine.
try to get together.
Don't you agree, John?
I agree.
We don't need to wait another month. We waited with.
We probably, before we open it up to, for the presentation, we'll need to be thinking about our budget workshop
Sure.
meeting schedule. Last year, I believe we had 6 meetings, 5 or 6 budget workshop meetings, and I can't remember, I believe we started in March, and we were finished in May, and it was like every other week we met. And then we adopted the budget was adopted early, way before the deadline, so we probably need to be thinking about a schedule for that too.
Well, I know our finance officer is pleased to hear that we're beginning to even think about it. It's difficult to wait until May and then start working on a budget, so March is usually a good time to get a beginning.
Madam Chair, I had kind of put that schedule together last year. Would you like me to do that again?
That'd be great. Mhm.
And then on the agenda, it says ground rules and items to be accomplished during the session. So like these things with the job description and with the setting the schedule for the budget workshop, et cetera. So each meeting, I'm not sure how the county commission works, but do you set the workshop, the next workshop meeting agenda or topics at this meeting?
No, we
Or do
don't.
we, okay.
No,
Just
just as it comes up,
Okay.
then that's how we set the workshop meeting. It is a set meeting.
Yeah.
We begin at 5:30 now, rather than 4. We have a couple of full-time county employees that sit on the board, so we moved it up a little bit.
Well, I'll try not to make any 5:30 meetings.
Okay, thank you.
The presentation that we're going to be discussing here is an alternative to the $5,000 that was gonna go towards the motorcycle promotion. Lisa, I'm not sure if you'll need Nancy, me, and Marion to speak with a microphone? Or do you think they should be able to stand here in the center and you'll be able to pick that up fine?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
This is good.
Nancy's gonna start our presentation, I'll be in the middle, and Marianne's gonna finish us up.
Marianne's got a call at 3 o'clock. I
She
can't
can go
finish up
before
that
me.
fast. Yeah, we will.
She can go.
But I don't know if I can, I'll try to, what do you need, maybe 10 minutes?
Not even.
Okay, so I'll see if I can get this done in 10 minutes. I've got everything in bulleted form. So you should be able to do it. Read it pretty quick. I've got some good data here for you that we're gonna help you with, your marketing. Paper that you're completing on too.
I've got mine.
You got one? Okay, so what we've done is is we've looked at the website statistics from January 1st, 2014 to today, yesterday. And what we're looking at is basically 31,000 sessions. A session is when somebody sits down at the website. There's 24,000 people that have looked at our website. And they may come back, that's why you're seeing 31,000. So those 24,000, you're going to get some repeat people back and forth. 79% of those users are brand new visitors, and the rest are returning visitors. We've had 92,000 page views, which results in about 3 pages per view, per session when you're sitting down, and the average session is about 3 minutes that you're looking at our website. Demographics, 52% male, 48% female. The age group is between 45 and 64. The location is generally the southeast, looking at North Carolina is the most popular, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Virginia, Alabama, Ohio, Illinois, and for some reason, California.
Are those in order, Nancy?
Yes, those are all in order.
Thank you.
The devices, 60% desktop, 23% mobile, and 16% tablet, and you know that mobile devices are going to be increasing and increasing and increasing. Page popularity, these are the 3 top pages that are most popular on our website. Of course, the home page is 25%. Cabin rentals, 8%, and you see I have the bounce rate behind that at 27%, which is real low, and you've heard Tabitha talk about bounce rates, that you want a low bounce rate. That means that they're sitting on that website and clicking inside that website. They're not closing it and going back to Google. So they're staying there. Resorts has another high bounce rate at 31%, which is really good. Our traffic, this is very interesting. 50% of our traffic comes from search engines. So they're doing a Google search on Robbinsville. In fact, Robbinsville, North Carolina is one of the top search engines, and I should have put that on here and I did not. Robbinsville, Graham County, Lake Santillo, I think those are like the 3 top ones. 21% of all our traffic is referral traffic. In other words, they're clicking on a link either from another website or from Facebook to get to Graham County Travel. Now, where are those referrals coming from? This is where it gets real interesting. 35% of our referrals is coming from Facebook. Mobile Facebook, you can see most of our users on Facebook are on their phone. And desktop Facebook is about equal at 1,800 sessions. Visit NC is 1,500 sessions, and that's our number 2 or number 3, whatever you want to call it, which is another important website for us to stay connected with. Our popular months are June, this is obvious, June through October. The low season is now, January and February. Popular time of day is between 8 and 10 p.m. and at noon. Popular day of week, and this is interesting, Tuesday is the most popular day, followed by Wednesday, Monday, and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays pretty much drops off to about nothing. The reason why I'm doing this is because I looked at the stats after our last meeting, which awful meeting. But I just wanted to dig at the stats. Google Analytics is what we use, and it's just full of data. And I saw 3 spikes, huge spikes. I mean, it just stands out in front of you. It's like, what are those 3 spikes? So I've got details on here. The first spike was August 6th. And this corresponds to a Facebook posting of the floating lake house on Fontana Lake. That resulted in 308 sessions through Facebook. In other words, 308 people clicked on that link and got to our website. The next spike, and this is really cool, August 30th, we had a promotion for Tooele, and they got an award from TripAdvisor. That resulted in 910 sessions. Did you boost that post?
No.
Okay, didn't even boost it. 910, it was just huge. September 3rd, a few days after that, we did a posting for tree houses. We had some good pictures and posted out there. That resulted in 211 sessions on the Treehouse page within Graham County Travel and Tourism. Each accommodation has their own page inside Travel and Tourism. So what we did is I contacted Tabitha and Mary Ann and said, let's see if we can repeat this. These spikes are really cool, and let's see if we can do it again. So during the Valentine's Day promotion, and you guys got an email from me when I wanted to do the newsletter, we decided to do a Facebook promotion, a website post, which had a link right on the front page. We sent out a newsletter. Here's some really cool facts here. Comparing last year from January 1st to February 11th, 2014, compared to this year, January 1st through February 11th, 2015. Now this is looking at that Valentine's Day post and some other stuff that we've been doing too, but that Valentine's Day post is important. Blue Waters, Topeka, Snowbird, Fontana, all have Valentine's Day events. So we really push those on the newsletter and on Facebook and on the front page. The posting that we actually did to promote Valentine's Day also listed all the accommodations underneath those, and those were accommodations that are now open, still kind of winter accommodations. Blue Waters had 18 sessions last year at this time. This year they had 54 sessions and 194% increase. Snowbird Lodge had 37 sessions last year compared to 61 this year, a 65% increase. Topeka 29 last year, 93 this year, a 220% increase. Fontana 46 last year, 87 this year for an 89% increase. Those people all had huge increases, but it also stimulated people to look at other pages within the website. We saw an increase in people looking at the cabin rental page from 400 last year to 827 this year, which is a 107% increase. And website activity throughout the website had increased by 24% compared to last year at the same time. After the Valentine's Day promotion, we kind of got excited about what was happening, so we've done a couple other fun promotions. Mary Ann had the great idea to do a tiny house, hashtag treehouse, hashtag floating house promotion. And the comparative that we have from last year to this year's Simple Life, of course, the floating house has not been on our website for a whole year, and tree houses has not been on our website for a whole year, so I could not compare it from last year. But Simple Life Campground had a 321% increase in the amount of people that saw their webpage compared to last year. And we've also done another promotion on Swan Cabin, and did when we say promotion, we're doing a boosted Facebook posting, and then we'll also have something on the front page, because we know that the home page, according to our stats here, is the most important page. So we want to get something that they click on right there and get them in the website. So what we'd like to do is use this as a platform to create a promotion package that we continue to do throughout the year. We'd like to, the promotions will involve a feature on the front page with a link, maybe a photo, a newsletter, a promoted Facebook posting, a Pinterest board, and a hashtag promotion. And Mary Ann will talk about what a hashtag promotion and how we use that. This method of advertising is measurable. We know, we can see how many people are visiting. And I think it's a very important form of advertising for us, and it's effective. We can see that it works. And it's fairly inexpensive, too. What we would like to do is to put this together and present stats at the budget meetings. And we will give you a package of what we can do next year with this. And we'll take it. We'll run with this. But we're going to play with it for the rest of the year if you'll give us a go-ahead. And we'd like a little bit of some money to play with promotions and really do a bang-up job for next year.
do you have an avenue to know actually how many reservations were had out of this?
Well, Ron and I have
You're working
discussed
on
it.
it.
No, this is the deal. Our responsibility is to get the heads.
Sure.
Your responsibility is to get them in bed.
I accept.
I will give you.
Can we see their face first?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
That's the job.
Well,
Carol,
you're always talking about heads in beds. Our job is to give you the people.
Exactly.
We will give you,
Wait,
we will give
I'm
you the
just
people
thinking
that
of
are
track.
looking.
Yeah.
How did we figure it out? And
The net.
and it's important that we get this information.
The net's
It's just-
important. We always ask, I mean, that's one of the things about Iron Horse is we always ask, how did you find out about us? If we
Well,
don't- if we don't know who
okay,
they
and I
are.
have talked about this, and I've talked to Lisa about this too. To track, and I know we've talked about word of mouth. That word begins someplace, and how you track that
Mhm.
is impossible. So
People
the best
usually
thing,
don't remember, you're absolutely right. They
Yes.
don't remember where they saw
where
you for the
it
first time.
originated.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, now,
where did it
what,
come from?
what I said to Connie was, why can't we just call these places and say, we've run this special, we've advertised?
Why do we care? It's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to give them people.
You could have a promo code, which if somebody was willing to write that down and use that as a signature that they're checking.
Ron, help.
Did not work?
How much is this gonna cost us?
Yeah,
That's
what
Tabitha
I-
I mean,
that will
that's
be-
bottom line. you know.
Tabitha will give
And
you
that's
the
what I'm
numbers.
getting
Yeah.
at, the final proof that this actually works
Works,
is
yeah.
how many reservations,
Which
how many
is
heads dig
heads
we
and
Well,
beds and the tax.
But all I can do,
Is to
all
get
we
the
can do
interest.
is get people to look at you. Your job as an accommodation owner is to sell your place.
And I agree with Nancy. I mean, we're not, Coe Valley Center's not an accommodation, but we
But you
get
said-
people here in the county, 16,000 people a year, and they gotta stay somewhere, and we don't care how they get there either. It's kind of the same thing. We provide an activity, and then, you know, if you wanna,
I can get 94 people to look at Topeka Lodge. Topeka Lodge's responsibility in providing a good package and a good place to stay. That's not my job.
Our final measure will be an increase in occupancy tax.
Exactly.
That's the occupancy.
That's it.
The
Make
market
sure we
will
what
take care of
pays
itself.
you to do this again next year. That's why I'm saying we need
Yeah.
to see that we are getting results. You see
well, we
what I'm
gotta
saying?
try first, I guess.
Yeah, and this is wonderful. I think this is great, but we need to make sure that our accommodation partners see what it's doing.
Well, if that
Now, you
many
were gonna
people-
comment on the code or some way to identify that they got your information and then it came to us. Is that not viable? I mean, is that ridiculous to put a promo code out? It could be just a generic, it could be, you know, it could be GCTT 2015 for all that matters, is just so that
Would
people
that be
have
something
something
that Google Analytics
to
would
hang.
No, that's not part of us. Our job, from the web standpoint, is to get people to look at your
Good
website.
teaching.
That is our job.
Here's a blue light.
It's like if I was an advertising company for a sale, for a car lot.
Does Kmart do them anymore?
Okay, if I'm going to promote your car lot, I can't guarantee that you're gonna sell that Mustang. It's a salesperson's job to sell that Mustang, but I can get the people to the car lot.
Well, that's a half the battle.
Well, I think it's just amazing that we have that many views on our website in
Mhm.
January, February.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well,
I
and
mean, you
that's
can
why we
tell
got
that the
so
promotion
excited
is
about it.
working.
Yeah,
Can you provide this monthly?
yes, and that would be part of our package, is to do this monthly. And to let you know what our promotions are and give you the results and what's happening. And the cool thing about these promotions is that they can be repeated. So we can do the tiny houses now, but we can do it again in March, and then again in July, and we could do it next year, so they're repeatable.
Okay, so this is you and her and
Mary-
Tabitha?
yes.
Mary Ann Tabitha.
So what I'm here is to give you the hard facts.
Yeah.
And Tabitha's gonna give you what it's gonna cost. Mary Ann's gonna explain to you how we use social media to promote all this stuff.
Okay, but there is a cost involved, and I'm
Yes.
with Billy, I would like to see, and make this part of it, if Tabitha's got time, let her follow up with the
My turn.
accommodation partners, and see You see what I'm saying? I mean, I love what you're doing, and I think it's wonderful, and we want to pay you, but we got to be able to pay you.
Yeah.
On the
Oh,
next
I
page,
Yeah,
after-
we got, yeah.
the next page after the agenda is what Tabitha's gonna go over with us now, the cost.
Ms. Mary Ann is gonna go ahead and get on her,
We finished?
call, and then she'll
Thank you.
rejoin us at about 3:20, 3:30. So during her social media report, she will go over her part of this promotion.
Thank you, Nancy.
So I'm gonna stand more over here, and that it is, when you start looking at the numbers, because it can be tracked and it can be measured, it does get exciting, because that's, part of this argument. And the thing about following up with the accommodation partners, we've talked about giving them weekly forms, bi-weekly forms, monthly forms, however they think it's easiest to do, and to fill those things out and to give them back. But again, it's all you can do is say, here's the resource, we need you to help us figure out if this is working. But if they don't turn it back in, you can't make people do stuff.
Once again, the increase or decrease in the occupancy tax
Will be
will
the
give you
telltale.
that information.
So, in your packet, if you'll turn to the page that talks about alternative use for motorcycle promotion monies. And just for the audience here, there's a few of these pages, if you'd like to follow along with us, and you guys can look at them. So again, we are trying to use the monies that were line item. Like Nancy said, it's a combination of Facebook and other social media channels that point back to the website under the promotions landing page, which has been established for those last two promotions that we've done. It also combines mini newsletters, public relation press releases, aided with the established and introductory hashtags, which is one of the things that Mary Ann is going to be talking about. This continues to grow Graham County's digital footprint, as I like to refer to it, because the more these hashtags, the more of our assets that get out there, we're going to increase our searchability level as people are hunting for things to do in our area. Those promotions, you just heard some of Nancy's numbers for the Valentine's Day. What I have right there in the middle of the page are some numbers that revolved around that lodging campaign with the floating house, tree house, and tiny houses. The first column that you see there is from 12:30 last night, and the second column is from this morning. So just the small changes of about 9 to 10 hours, you're going to see that the total reach, 13,184, jumped up to 13,688. Organic is not paid. Those are the ones that just people are just kind of, it's in their news feed, they're just doing it. It's not a paid promotion. But the paid boost, I think it was about $20. Yeah. There's where you can see some of those numbers and see how, yes, they are a little bit higher because you are boosting that promotion. The post clicks, people who actually click on the post, and then there's 3 different categories there of the click link that goes to the website, the photo view, or other types of clicks. So those are all broken down to lead to that post-click number. And then, to me, one of the most exciting sections is this likes, comments, and shares. Shares is how your post can go viral, meaning that if you share something, then everybody that's friends with that person gets to see it in their news feed. So that's how some of the ones that we've been tracking, there's probably just over a dozen that are 50 or more shares. We have at least a half dozen, I think, over 100 shares. And that's when you get into these real exciting numbers of, oh my gosh, 62,000 people saw that two-wheel in post from this past year because of where it was shared at, like, Good Rides, different motorcycle clubs, people that have large fan bases. And it gets real exciting when you can get some of those larger entities to share your content. And we know that some of these promotions are gonna convert into vacation based on the comments that are listed underneath this lodging post. The floating house, this is a quote, "The floating house, of course, I could fish right off the porch. I would be in fishing heaven, not to mention that is drop dead gorgeous." That was Sandy Christian's Cummings out of East North Carolina. Another comment, "You want to get one of these," and she was from Alabama. Another lady said, "Wouldn't it be fun to stay at one of these?" And that person was from Alabama. So they're talking to their friends. They're already kind of, partners in crime, trying to figure out where they're going to go as a vacation, and you can see that in some of these comments. So what does this mean to us as far as financial? We have a proposed budget here that contracted vendor is your first column, your second column is the explanation, and then your cost. So
This is for the rest of the year, right?
for this year,
Yeah, for
yeah, to
this-
take us
yeah.
until the end of the fiscal year.
June 30th.
Mhm. So the Facebook boost to engage more fans in the news feed, if we were to do $40, so $20 per post at 10, that's $400 is what we're thinking we can do there. Nancy's monthly expense, and this is going to, as a contractor, she'll be the one putting together some mini newsletters, the promotions landing page on the website, and the leads that we have from GuestQuest, Southern Living, and a couple of those other vendors. Nancy is going to be taking those leads and sending these people an invitation to join our newsletter. And if they don't, they don't get added to our constant contact, active contacts list. It's a one-time invitation, and they either take us up on it or they don't, and we take them out of the list.
We'll include a link to our online brochure too, so they'll have access to be able to look at our brochure if they're interested.
So that $125, the 5 remaining months, you come to $625. The Facebook Fans Like, currently we're spending $1 a day, which equals $30 per month. We would like to be able to boost that number to $100, multiplied by the 5 months remaining for $500. We get close to 100 likes per week, so you can almost take that by 3. That'll be 300 likes per week. That'll have a whole lot more people taking a look at our Facebook page and more people to get engaged and get into their newsfeed. So we're thinking that is a great way to push that area. Impact studies, basically what this is groups when they come in, we again take just a select few out of each group, but to get a good statistic analysis, we invite those people to collect their receipts and give them to us at the end of their stay. We also have them fill out a survey about what they experienced while they were on their trip, whether it was in Graham County or out of Graham County. And we ask them for their, what they liked and what they didn't like, so we can kind of see some things we might be able to improve on. Maybe there's some monies that can be put towards different projects that would enhance people's experience while they're in the area. 10 groups, if you were to do a door prize with each one of them, say there's 100 people, you need 20%, 20 people come and give you your receipts and stuff, you pull a door prize for those 20 people for participating. So I think that it will give us some good, valuable information. Chris Kavanaugh, and he gave me a list of some public relations people. These are people that already have experience with magazines, newspapers, TV shows, and the like. They already have these contacts. Graham County has a wealth of story creation content that nobody has ever written about. And one story can lead to many more stories because we're going to be a very exciting place to write about because nobody's really written about us. Perfect prime pickings for anybody that's looking to get articles into those magazines. So we're looking to get a price to find out, what would it cost from here to the end of the year to get a PR person to get some of that content out there for us. And then there's going to be some miscellaneous opportunities that as we kind of get excited about some of our results, we might see that you can do some Pinterest boosts. You can do some Twitter boosts. You can do some Google boosts. There might be a few things here and there that we want to try some additional avenues because there are definitely different demographics with different You know, everybody knows Instagram is a younger demographic versus Facebook. All the kids are off Facebook because they say it's for their parents and the grandparents. So we might find some avenues in some of those other channels. So there's just some monies there to between the 500 and 1,000. If you add up the lower number, you're about 2,500 to the higher number, around 3,000, plus whatever the public relations price is. And in talking with Chris for a recommendation, we need to tell him that, you know, we're only going to have this allotted amount of money. Who do you think might be more interested in working with us to get, you know, he knows these people, so he'd probably be able to give us a better idea of who would engage with us. So these promotions run about every 2 weeks. That leaves us with 10 promotions until the end of the fiscal year. The promotions will revolve around events and different assets of our county. Some of those things are going to need a 3 to 4 week lead time because of the way people plan for their vacations. Because this was an original promotion dealing with two-lane tourism, 2 to 3 of these promotions were going to be strictly geared towards that activity and highlight those activities and the lodging partners that are in good standing that cater to those activities. We're thinking that would make you know, those people excited that that's what we're looking to do for them. The next page, just so you'll know, those are kind of the dates of when every 2 weeks kind of falls. And because I've not really been in the office, just some activities that I know off the top of my head are plugged in there for the different types of promotions that would be done during those time frames. So we'll let you finish looking that over. Any questions for me at this point? Mary Ann will be finishing up.
Are you sending this information out to your accommodation partners? Are they seeing the results, John?
This is our first promotion to you, but it would be very easy for us to get this to an industry newsletter out to the partners.
I think we should have like a breakfast at a very close restaurant one Saturday morning and let Nancy make her same presentation to the accommodation partners and let them see. And then that way you've done your part and we can show them how effective this is. And
I'd be glad to do a
Get
newsletter
them-
to our owners and
get them on board.
It would be
And
a
I'm
good
sure
time of
Chris will
year
do it
too,
early.
because we do a meet and greet in June. Now would be a good time of year too.
Now,
Engage
and
them.
let them see just how effective this is. And maybe that will help them spruce up and draw them in or whatever.
One of the things that we forgot to talk about is the reason why we're having such great luck with our promotions here is the uniqueness that we have, the unique accommodations, because we were flabbergasted why, like, Simple Life was getting all these hits. It's
the tiny house.
Yeah, it's the tiny houses, and the floating houses, and the tree houses, and Snowbird Lodge has its uniqueness, and our unique points of interest that we have here too, and that's what we want to focus on. Yeah, and Iron Horse Motorcycle, I mean, it's all, and the two-wheel inn is so unique.
Very
Those are big
unique
things.
accommodations. Any other questions? I think it's 3 o'clock. You guys need to get into your board.
All right, Nancy, thank you. Thank you, Tabitha. And Mary will be back in.
She will be hopefully right around 3:30.
Okay. All right, we will move into our board meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. If there is any adjustment to the agenda, please speak.
I think we would, as a group, once Mary Ann's done, maybe ask for some action if we can go forward with these monies.
Okay, anything? Nothing added to the agenda or? Think not. Okay. Rebecca Garland will not be with us with the financial report today. I've given everybody a copy of the budget. However, if you don't have a copy, let me know. You know where to come. Yeah.
That's the one she told us.
Tabitha, you want to review the minutes, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda, and I think we need a second.
We
vote.
did. I didn't hear you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Approving the agenda? Thank you. Beth?
And then we had received an email from Tabitha, and we've gone back and forth on this, and as a time saver, the minutes are sent out to the board prior to the meeting, and we all received those earlier this week or last week, Monday.
Friday, Monday.
I mean, we can go through and have the minutes read, but I just think, yeah, I
And
mean,
that's
we've done
fine.
both.
One thing that I do need to bring to your attention, Tabitha, the clerk to the Board of County Commissioners needs these minutes within a week after our meeting. 1 week.
Okay.
Get the minutes
Yeah, it's always better to have the minutes when they're fresh in your mind.
I
and
certainly do better with them.
That way, that give us, as board members, plenty of time but to review and
Mhm.
note any changes before the next meeting.
Okay. and-
So however, if, for this meeting, if you, I've read them, and
Okay.
I didn't have any changes. If everybody is okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as emailed.
Here a second.
So,
All in favor? Okay. Minutes stand approved. Do we have anyone for public comment?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay. All right, are you ready with the director's report?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the original minutes that you want to pass around for signature?
Yes, ma'am. Blue pen. There's 2 copies here. If you could please start that down to there with the blue pen. Appreciate that.
And that, other things down there,
Was it a budget?
it was the,
Um,
no.
Does somebody have a signed? Because Harold might have needed to sign that. There was a signed document that came down about paying a certain bill. Does anybody
Well,
have
then there was
that?
I have that, and everyone signed it.
And
And
then there's
I'll give it
another-
back to Becky.
There's that other one with the, closed board minutes.
I have
It's-
those minutes
Yeah.
for signing. We'll just go ahead and do that.
So as you know, after your last board meeting, I probably worked that Friday and then was contacted about taking down my comp time. So there's not much to report because I've been on such a limited work schedule. But I did want to let you guys know about some of the meetings that I did attend and just a few other little small items to keep you abreast of the situation. I did attend a Smoky Mountain Post meeting about their social hub, which is a marketing program that they're doing to help the region. And believe it or not, Marion Baker is the one that is doing this social hub promotions for Smoky Mountain Post. So if we have questions about that, but the whole background to that is there's a lot of people out in social media that are taking these beautiful pictures of our area. Sometimes they tag them, sometimes they just put the name of the location with the photograph. But what it does is it validates, it's not just us saying, hey, our destination is great. It's people that are actually experiencing this for themselves. And so you're sharing this social of people other than the paid destination stuff. So it becomes organic content that's driven by the visitor. So that's what Social Hub really is. And part of that meeting, going to that, was to establish a list of hashtags associated with our events, our unique assets, unique names to things, so that they're readily searchable on all the internet search engines. The funny thing about us is because we are such a diamond in the rough, and we have been kind of a hidden secret, there's not been a lot of hashtag, there's not been a lot of these things out there. So part of this was to possibly put some signage, if the Forest Service will allow us to, when you're, like up at Maple Springs, ask people while they're up there with a sign, when posting pictures, please use hashtag Maple Springs. That way we can kind of, again, we're expanding our own digital footprint. It is visitor-generated content, and it is organic. It's not us promoting it, it's our visitors that are promoting it. I went to the GREAT meeting during this time, and if you guys have never been to one of those, a number of different issues always get discussed, and they have about 9 legs to that organization, with travel and tourism being one of those legs. The primary focus right now for the GREAT organization, of course, as you know, is that comprehensive travel and tourism plan. We just finished the 4th of 6 public feedback sessions, and that's one of the meetings that I attended as well. There were 21 people in attendance at that meeting, and they were from pretty much all over the county. We discussed some resource needs, the barriers to small business doing business in Graham County, metrics and measurement, and as well as lowest hanging fruit. What are things that we can actually take action on quickly and be successful in those areas. I attended a tourism plan conference call before that with Rick and Beth to talk about some of the things, the way we were going to put them out to the public to get the most feedback from them, and a few other items that came up in some of the surveys. I did the promotions meeting with Nancy and Mary Ann, and that's where this work from the promotions promotion we just gave you came from. We went over to Bryson City and worked on that. There was a department head meeting for the county, and there's some exciting technology that if I ever did have to work from home like I did this past month, I will be able to have my same desktop that I have at work at my home, because I did catch myself quite a bit wishing I had something from the office and having to go get it on a jump drive and bring it back home with me to get the work done that I was trying to get done. So that'll be great not only for myself but everybody in the county, that they can get things done. Also talked about the Affordable Care Act, because we're a large employer and what that means with our full-time and part-time people. But pretty much with the elimination of the hostess job in the state of Franklin, our department won't have to worry about some of those consequences of the Affordable Care Act with a large employer. I went and visited, if you guys have not gone and stopped in at the Weirloom Honey place. That's going to be a tourist destination stop for your visitors. They are going to have their soft opening March 6th, and they'll be open Fridays and Saturdays, and their grand opening will be in April. And as soon as they get that date, they're going to let us know so we can splash that up on the website as well. A lot of, that's just another whole aspect that we've got cheese, we're going to have honey, you know, we've got the farmer's market, and we have all these high tunnel places for gardening, and in Taylor's Greenhouse, I'm not sure if you guys were aware that for Christmas, they were one of the vendors that were chosen to decorate the governor's house, his West House here in Asheville. So we have some notoriety with our agro businesses here, and we hope to continue to expand in that area. The other thing that is in your packet is, this was passed out of the department head meeting. It's that time of year again, and it's an employee performance evaluation. I don't remember getting a lot of these turned back in last year. I think there was only a couple, but if you guys could please take the time and fill this out. If you don't want to put your name on it, that's fine. I am going to ask Greg at some point to go over my evaluations with me, because if you don't have feedback, you don't know where your weaknesses are, so you can work on some of those areas. So feel free to fill that out, and you know, if Beth is getting things from you and you want to turn it in then, if you want to email it, fax it, drop it by, I would really appreciate that.
We will be doing a review.
Okay,
Not very, okay.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say conversely, I think that if we, last year there were not very many turned in,
Right.
and I think it's very hard for, you know, to help an employee move into a direction that this board would like for them to go if they're not properly and timely evaluated and given feedback. So if y'all could get those completed soon, that would be helpful.
And then again, right before your evaluation, this is the every 15 days statistics report. I'm sure some of you remember some of the things I pointed out at the last meeting. Lavonda and Darlene, if you'd like for me to go through what I went through with them last time about bounce rates and sessions and time on site, I'll be glad to work with you guys after the meeting if you want me to kind of highlight this sheet for you so you can start comparing. Because you should at least get 1 or 2 of these every single time we meet, because I try and do them the closest workday to the 1st and the closest workday to the 15th. But this is really showing some trending of not only just our website, but our rankings with our competitors and some of the social media channels and how they're growing. So, any other questions for me? It is about 3:20. I know Mary Ann needs about at least 10 more minutes.
What do you have scheduled for the upcoming month? What meetings, Tabitha?
I was not prepared for that, so I'd have to look at my calendar just real quick to see.
Okay,
if
no
I can
problem.
See what's on here. I do know that the governor's conference is asking for registration, and at the budget meeting this past year, it was recommended for one of the board members to go. I'm not sure if that was Beth or Darlene.
I think what we had talked about, if I recall, is that I would go or Darlene would go, and it would be at the expense of our organizations and not the travel and tourism.
Okay.
And I plan to register for that.
Okay.
Where's it going to be held?
Pinehurst?
Okay. So Beth or Darlene or both of you will be attending? Beth will be attending.
Yeah, I plan to register. We just got the early bird registration last week, so, and that will be a Stokoe Valley Center expense. I've been before I was on this board. It is a good conference to
It's a
go
great
to.
conference. You can bring back a lot of good
Yes,
information
and
that we
I'll be
need.
glad to bring it back to the board.
So I'm sure there's also going to be another comprehensive travel and tourism plan meeting. I think
It's
that's
on
what I
March
listed
17th.
there. So it's not the 12th, it's the 17th.
Don't you remember that guy said he didn't bring beer?
Oh, okay. Maybe
I don't think he's going to.
Okay.
I think it's March the 17th.
Is that Stokoe Valley?
I think it's going to be at the community center
Community
if
center.
it's open.
It is going to be open.
Yes, I saw that. And I urge all the board members to please try to attend. I know Darlene has been, and Tabitha and myself. We only have 2 meetings left, and I just think it's, you know, a marketing plan will be probably the priority recommendation of the tourism plan, and since we're going to be working on that, it would just be really good to have some more travel and tourism. It's March 17th at the community center at 5. At 5 o'clock.
And I know this time of year, we don't have a lot of winter pictures other than snow. And one of Mary Ann's concerns with social media posts is, of course, for Floridians, it's very interesting and they come here to see snow. But for the general traveler, you want to try and stay away from the whole burr, it's cold, and showing your temperature, because that does not want to drive folks to come to a destination. So we need to, I plan on some of my work when they're, like the river release is going to be happening, so I'll be going down there to take some photos, and I'm really going to be trying to get more of people watching the event versus just some of the kayaking. I think we have plenty of those photographs right now, but to try and get the aspect of the people watching the event is gonna be really important, because that gives people something to do. And other things like that with the Joyce Kilmer hikes, it's gonna be important to attend some of those, especially if it really takes you to a cool destination, and something that's a beginner to moderate hike, because that's more the general population than those crazy adventure folks that like the 6 miles there and 6 miles back. But yeah, I think it's gonna be important to capture some of those photos. When I haven't been able to go, Kim has been a great resource of sharing some photos there. We had a really beautiful shot of that full moon hike, camp out marshmallow roast that they did that really had some high interaction on our Facebook page. Of people just really loving that shot and the aspect of, oh, they're doing hikes now for a year. But yeah, if that's their first time seeing it, then that's great, because again, it gives them something to do. Also, Dick Evans is another source, David Dobson, with the clearings that they've been doing along the roads. Hopefully you guys have been getting some of those emails that I've been forwarding to you. You all have seen Stokoe Gap, I'm sure, but as you head towards Fontana, I think those 2 peekaboos have now been cleared out. They're now up on, I think they did a little bit of clearing out at Maple Springs, and now they're out on doing some work out at the Cherokee Skyway. So that has always been a big pet peeve of all of us, especially the motor tourism. If you don't have a view, what's the point? I did learn that Haywood County has about $24,000 in their budget. That is line item to help clear sections of the Blue Ridge Parkway that are in Haywood County. It's a very substantial number, but they couldn't get volunteers like us. But you know, if we ever did have a destination size and we needed that work done more often than not, it'll be things like that that we might consider with some of our budget in the future as well. I think.
When is our first spill day?
First what?
Spill day for
Oh,
children?
the 21st, 22nd?
20th and 21st.
Thank you. I've got
Thank you.
2 calendars
This
on mine.
month?
Yes, yes, and Topeka Lodge is having a grand opening event at their basement restaurant with some special beer prices and stuff, and we're gonna promote that on Facebook too, do a big promotion for them.
Is that gonna be the same day?
It'll be on that Saturday.
Okay.
We are building a new pudding.
Yeah, is that gonna be done by then?
No.
Oh, heavens, no.
Okay.
We'll probably have it up and running by February,
And it looks like you'll have parking there too, right?
We have
Yes.
it done by
Yeah.
March.
I doubt it.
That's the next one.
I doubt it. So that's the biggest thing, because it's tons of concrete and it's 3
That's
degrees
set up.
outside.
Yeah.
It's in the last curve before you come into the straight where the bridge goes across up into Big Bag Gap.
I'd say, what was it, about 1/4 of a mile, half a mile before the bridge?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Which that is quite an accomplishment to get that done. We have so many people who want to watch all those rafts and kayaks, and there's no place. There's no place for them to stand. I know, before my mother passed, I took her down and got her stuck in the mud trying to watch those, and she absolutely loved it.
This will have a ramp where they can come up out of the river, and then there'll be a railing and parking right on the riverside also.
That's
So
good.
Ravana, isn't it like 4 car spaces, and then there's a boat let off, get on, and then the ramp that leads down for kayak, raft to put in, and then when it's not the rafting, and I understand it was really kind of meant for some of the fishermen to get down into the water too.
Possibly, I'm sure.
Okay.
They'll use it.
Yeah.
So it's good
We'd like to
accessibility.
take a shot of that and put it on.
Yeah.
there.
I thought about it the other day when I passed by, but it was real wet. and I was
I'll
probably
get a
gonna-
shot and
Okay.
email it.
That'd be great.
I'm gonna make a suggestion, if you wanna get some exposure for the Chioa, maybe we could contract, Daryl Cannon to take his GoPro, his drone down there and videotape some of the activity on that river and post it on Facebook or post it out on.
We've shared some of his videos before,
Grand
and they
He's
get
not too
really
thrilled
good
about
interaction.
getting his GoPro hooked a while ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you've got $3,000 floating in the air above the water, it's a little bit scary.
Oh,
But there's already video that he's done, so we
Yeah.
can use those
Okay.
things.
Yeah, we could use that.
Yeah. Anything else?
I love that idea. That no better pictures of
fairly
Maybe some of
inexpensive.
The Raptors to wear it over too.
Yeah. Why not? They all do it, they wanna see it,
Okay.
it's cheap advertising.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Not for the director's report, no, ma'am, that should be it.
Okay. Any old business that we haven't talked about in workshop, I guess?
Madam Chair, I think, Darlene was talking about if we had brought up the brochure printing at the last meeting,
No,
and we did not. And I
the
think,
audit was somewhat done. I was in the middle of working with the finance department to find out where they were with some of the letters that were mailed out. But since I've not worked this past month, that kind of was stalled. So when I get back into work on Monday, one of those first 2 or 3 days, I plan on coming up and get all caught up with them. Plus, I've got to give them some bills, and it's that time to give them some things. So we'll be figuring out who needs to be taken off. There was some confusion that there was one number, but it had like 3 different places. So some people were thinking maybe these 2 cabins weren't paying, but it's just they didn't know that there was one person paying multiple cabins. Even the finance department didn't have a couple of cabins underneath some of the names, and there's one that is 2 different owners underneath one number. So I think we need to get those people split apart. So it's a little bit of cleaning up of the records. One more thing we're trying to get onto that sheet is a potential of, we had the little tent site, we had the cabin site, we were thinking about having a pet icon so that people could quickly find what is pet friendly, because that is, we get those kind of calls that come in, and that would be real helpful to the guests that are coming in to visit the destination.
So you go back and work on that. So what's the
So I guess-
brochures that you're?
we haven't talked about the insert for the brochures.
It needed to
and-
be updated with new accommodation partners since the last time we had it.
Not the
printed.
brochure itself, but the insert.
Just the
that has
insert.
been
So
given.
how-
Because we have
much are we-
8 cases of brochures that do not have an insert.
Okay. On the advertising and promotion line item, is that where that will come out of?
Yeah, printing, let's see.
Because we wanted to discuss putting this in our budget.
Yeah, we do.
Well, that's going to be in place, well, it'll be in that same line item, but it'd be in place of the motorcycle raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
line item broken.
But it does come out of that
It does
line.
have the printing.
Advertising information, sure.
So there's $5,000 for the motorcycle raffle.
That'll cover all this.
Well, it'll
And some.
be more than that.
Yeah, okay, great.
So maybe we just need to, Tabitha, if you think by the next meeting, we could do that in a workshop session, would you have it updated by then? The insert?
Yes,
Okay, so we
that
can,
would be a good topic.
we could discuss that at the next meeting. I knew Darlene asked me, and I knew we didn't discuss the brochure, but it's been a topic.
Any other business we can discuss? You think Marianne will be in?
Yeah, and I wanted to, just under some new business, you know that there's a great desire for this board to have a visitor center. And I remembered in the Reimagining Robbinsville, at the far end of town, down near the hub, there along the river, that was going to be a pocket park with a lot of parking, with maybe some sort of a pavilion and access down into the creek for kids to play, visitors to sit, relax, listen to the water. I don't know who owns that land, but what a fabulous visitor center that could be in conjunction with that pocket park to help move along that whole greenway pocket park thing that is trying to be worked upon. If maybe, Rhonda, we can check and see who it is, if it's the county or the town or an individual
And
that owns that.
Also, be aware that the county has a slice of land that is available to build a visitor center right at, Ditmore, where Ditmore Road used to be, right across, it's right at 5 Point, right there. where the little-
David told us last year no on that piece, wasn't it, Rhonda?
But that's not a no.
By United Community, right?
No, and they offer to give us a 100-year lease for parking for $1.
Where, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The little slice of land across from the old Delosier drugstore, or Dickmore drugstore.
Or the old, railroad.
Railroad bed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, we had David Hightley down and look at that, and there's utilities and setbacks and things like that that could prevent us from having much of a building at all.
Well, Dart was the one that went down there with me and looked at it, and we can,
You have to say it was
what they
right.
decided was that they could put walkways over the top of that, and there would still be plenty of room for a visitor center near the road.
Yeah, you just have to, you
It
have
would
to
have to be
position
a
it.
different
Yeah.
size, long, with like porches and
Right.
rocking chairs and that sort of
And
thing.
you just position the building care, the permanent structure, you position very
Mhm.
carefully.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is, and then use materials that are, you know, like the walls and stuff that are not so hard to
Wood,
move in the
perfect.
event. You have to do things that, you know, not
Mhm.
interfere with the easement. So
Let me pitch an idea.
it'll be a little bit to work out, but it's not impossible.
And I've mentioned this to Tabitha before, this might even, this might even help us with a grant or something. In Asheville, I don't know what the road is, but it's around that River Arch District. They're putting up a restaurant, and they're building it out of storage containers. And that is the coolest looking thing. I've got pictures of it on my phone. Of course, they're in a flood zone, so they've had to raise it up, so it's one story up, but they've taken those different storage containers, you know, which is a green way of building. Something like that, that's only about 8 foot by 40 foot or whatever. Plus, it would give it its novelty appeal, with it being something like that. And there might be more grant money for some kind of green building or something like that.
You just leave the wheels underneath it in case we need to
In
move.
case we
That's
had to-
right.
Right.
That's my pilgrim over there.
Gotta be versatile.
Right.
Ready for anything. But I think the building's really neat, and they've oxidized it, so it's
It
rusty.
is, yeah, it looks,
It's really cool. I think that, you know, if we've got a narrow build site, if we only have a limited amount of space, something like that.
oh, yeah,
And seriously, we could, we don't necessarily want to leave the wheels on it, but it could be positioned such a way that if we had to move it, we could. But I wouldn't even know where to begin to look for grants and stuff like that. That might be something you could do.
And Tabitha, you brought up another thing that we talked about when we were doing the town planning, and we were talking about making actually a greenway all the way from the mouth of the river, all the way up to Tallulah Creek, out behind the Five Points area. And there's so much potential there. It could just be an awesome thing. We just gotta get started with it sometime, somewhere, and move forward.
Isn't that one of Greg's plans, is to extend the
Mhm.
trail over?
There's a greenway plan, and then right now, the expansion is happening at the high school, and there's a grant from the Cherokee Preservation Foundation for an outdoor classroom around the harvesting and use of river canes that grows along that. So,
We're kind of getting a foot in the water.
yeah. And, you know, it takes several grants to keep building on it.
On that same theme, is it possible to find an old caboose? You know,
Oh,
put
wouldn't
one
that be
there?
great?
It might even be something that, you know, have some real character as opposed to
Sure.
a container
Smoky Mountain
with commercials.
Railway might have one, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Great
There's several
idea.
cars sitting around.
Yeah, there are.
I don't know how expensive they are or, you know, how hard they are to move, but
But we were talking about unique, and that would certainly be unique.
Well, and, you know, people just stop and take pictures in front of those. So,
Yeah, exactly.
they'd stop.
Like the chicken, how many
I was
people?
gonna say, that chicken, oh God, I have seen people you would not believe hugging that chicken, sitting on that chicken. Well, I guess technically it's a rooster. Sitting on it, kissing it, I mean, I worry at times about what happens when
Somebody's
that
gonna
happens.
get hit.
That's the main fast attraction.
They absolutely, they adore that thing. I've seen people that look like, I mean, they're like they would never, ever do anything, you know.
Crawl out of
remotely.
BMW or something.
Well, the Hell's Angels, you know, and they love that chicken. And I really am expecting them to just somebody just take off with him one day down the bypass and he'll be gone. You
you know, behind a motorcycle, just
Everybody
going,
likes chicken.
they love that guy, you know. I don't know, we should start dressing him up. We've dressed him up like Santa Claus at Christmas before, you know, so things like that. We should start dressing him up for things,
There's an idea, Liz.
you know, putting
Nice
his cow
promotion.
spots on him.
Okay. Madam Chair, I have something for old business, but do we want to let Mary Ann go on with her report?
That'd be fine.
She's finished.
Yeah.
Okay, Mary.
You left off at the last meeting, you wanted me to ask me to talk about hashtags?
Well, I think what was important that everybody understand is the importance of purchasing likes on Facebook and how a Facebook promotion works and how the hashtag promotion works.
So, as y'all know, I mean, you've been running a Facebook campaign for quite a while, probably over a year, even before I came on and helped you with your social media, but that was to grow your fan base. And so, the campaign that I'm running right now, of course, is to keep that going. And I'm running that campaign to two completely distinct audiences. One is more the motor tourism. It has to do with people who are interested in car clubs and motorcycles and who are interested in some of our key roads in the county. And the other one is more the outdoor adventurist, kind of the lake, the kayak, the hiking and the biking and Solly and those kind of interests. So we're running two completely separate campaigns. And that campaign's working out really well. Right now you're approaching 6,000 fans on Facebook, which is really good. So it's been growing fast. And I'll hand out my report and you can see how that's growing. But a couple of months ago, I started communicating with Tabitha and Nancy via email, and we started talking about, you know, what more can we do? Nancy started putting together some buttons on your homepage, because one of my questions was, how do we communicate with people? Which one of our lodging partners are open and which are, well, not which are not, but which ones are? So she's like, no problem, I'll put a button on there that helps people identify who's open. So I was running a few promotions on Facebook, you know, hey, it's a great place, great time to come and stay. And then we started talking about the fact that Valentine's Day and President's Day were kind of a 3-day weekend for a lot of people. And Tabitha and Nancy already have the information on the properties like Fontana Village and a few others that were running this special. So then Nancy goes, I'll make a button for that. And she said, I'll put that on the homepage. And then I said, well, that post that I did, it was doing pretty well on Facebook because I had a place to send people. Click here and you can go find all this information instead of just turning people loose on your website and go, oh, I don't know. So that was doing well, and I just happened to click on Boost Post to see how much it would cost to boost that. And what that means is that it goes out to just a much greater audience than just your fans. It goes to your fans and it goes to friends of your fans. And it was $20, and I'm like, you know what, I didn't even ask anybody. I said, I'm just gonna do this on my own. I'm just gonna, for $20, I just wanna do this and see what happens. And that post did extremely well. Nancy was able to look at Google Analytics and identify that we were getting a lot of traffic to the website, and she reported on that earlier. And then we had a meeting, the three of us had a meeting, and we started to talk about, you know, how we can do more with this. And I think you probably talked about that, Tabitha, when I had to leave to do that call. But realizing that there was a lot of ways to pull in the website, social media, and some other things that, you know, Tabitha's talked about with you to really make this trackable and measurable, so that when you're putting money out there, you can track, you know, that's really what we're in the business of doing. And like you said, ultimately it's the lodging tax, but we're trying to measure how many people are actually interacting as well. So then we started talking about tree houses and tiny houses, and about how that's kind of a big trend right now. I mean, I was watching, I don't know what channel it was, and there's a weekly show on tree houses. Yeah. And now the tiny houses, and Nancy and Tabitha are like, we have that. And then,
I have that.
Yeah. And then Tabitha goes, we've got floating houses. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So you probably heard us talk about that post, and I have a handout on that, just so you can see for $20 kind of what that looked like and what it actually generated. Did you talk about the?
Yeah, I told them how Simple Life Campgrounds sessions increased 321% compared to last year at this time, through that post.
So how this played out was that for that $20, we had several post likes. We picked up 77 website clicks, which I'm sure you've already been tracking. Sorry. But the entire post reached over 14,000 people. And like Nancy said earlier, I mean, that's something that we can do again in March or April or June or October until, yeah, we can run that, you know, as many times as we want. Because I used, and you'll see in this post in the upper left-hand corner, I used hashtags because people search by hashtags. And a hashtag is basically a keyword. So you can see I use the hashtags of tiny houses, tree houses, and floating houses. And this helps more people. And not only is it on Facebook, but it's also being used on Twitter. So this is a campaign, even though I'm showing you Facebook, it's going across other social media channels that I manage for you, including Instagram as well. So I think that people are anyone who's searching on any of our social media channels for these terms, and this is just an example, are going to see this post. And so this is kind of the trend that, you know, we're trying to identify how people are searching, and Nancy can tell us that. And when we have something special going on, or we want to identify a certain group of your lodging partners, all we have to do is the three of us communicate. Nancy puts a button on the website, and my life's a lot easier too, because then I feel comfortable when I put a link there that people are going to find the information they're looking for. So that's really what that's there to show you. The bottom right corner is not related to this post, but it really is just showing you a snapshot of what the what your Facebook page has produced in the last week, and that includes the boosted post about President's Day and Valentine's Day and those promotions. And I have promoted it a couple other times since then, just because I think it's the information that people are still looking for. I mean, we still have some last minute bookers out there, so that's what that is. And then I'll just hand out the January social media report, so you have that for your records. But you're seeing some good solid growth across all of your channels. I mean, maybe our numbers aren't so big on Instagram, but we're getting real strong interaction there. Nancy's been sending me some pictures as well. She got one recently of Cheoah Lake, which was really cool when you were out there, and that one did really well. But you can see on all the channels that they're performing very, very well. And this is as of January 31st. This doesn't always show, you know, what's happened in the last 10 days, but. I was like, okay, papers.
That's okay.
I'm used to dealing with papers.
Marianne, talk a little bit about the Pinterest and how it's going to relate to some of these promotions, and you know how we can, just like we pay boost posts on Facebook, some of the other options that we might have out there.
I don't even know if some of these people know what Pinterest is, right?
Well, Pinterest, does anybody use Pinterest here? Yeah, okay. So Pinterest is a very visual social platform, and think of it as almost like a bulletin board where you find pictures that you like and you decide that you're just going to pin those on your bulletin board. So it's basically people go on Pinterest and they search for recipes and they search for decorating ideas, and they also search for travel.
And all those pictures are linkable, so you click on a picture and it brings you to that story.
And I was listening to Fox News earlier today. They're getting ready to start adding different kinds of apps on it. Of course, I didn't understand all that, y'all would, but
Yeah.
they're getting ready to expand a lot more to it.
Yeah, it's always changing, always changing. But part of this whole campaign that we're talking about doing involves setting up a separate Pinterest board, and all that really is just a separate subject for Graham County, which in the example of the houses, you know, it might be like unique vacation rentals or unique lodging. And then we would put all the photos on that little pin board that were related to unique lodging, because there's also, you know, the two wheel in, there's other, it's not just these three that we're showing, there's other lodging in your county that's unique. So we would I would populate that Pinterest pin board, make all those linkable to the page that Nancy sets up, and then that also goes out in the newsletter, so people can click on those pictures in the newsletter, go right to that board, go right to that page. So it's really a 360, and it's, you know, the three of us working together and kind of that light bulb going on that, wait, we got a lot of ways to do this that no one else, I shouldn't say no one else, but a lot of our neighboring counties aren't using this strategy.
Do we,
so.
we want to consider all of our accommodation partners unique though, because we don't want to offend any of them.
Right, I mean, I think,
we're
yeah.
favoring one over the other.
Right.
Well, and the one thing too is we might push tree houses and tiny houses and that. We get them in the door. We get them in the door to the website. So they're looking all over the place once they get
Everybody's
in
on
there.
the
So we got them in the door.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just this Pinterest board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see
But
what I'm
that's
saying?
still, it brings them to the website.
Still
so
bring 'em in
we
there.
got them.
And the Pinterest is already set up. If you use Pinterest, you want to go like Graham County's, as one of those people that you follow. We already have a board for cabins, resorts, and, camping. It's kind of just the way we have it lined up on our insert. Those are already there. What she's talking about is an addition that works with those mini newsletters, the website.
So everybody's already
promotions.
covered, we're not gonna offend anyone.
You're already there.
Over
Everybody's
time-
there.
Yeah, everybody's there. And over time, we're hoping to feature everybody. We want everybody to be looked at and noticed. I mean, that is the goal. There are some people that, you know, because they make up more of the budget, this was kind of discussed with Donna Cody, that, you know, some of the people that make up more of the budget, they need to be maybe put out there a few more times than somebody that's only 0.5% of the whole budget. So we're gonna be as fair as we can to be sure that everybody's looked at and featured. But then also, what are some other areas that we might be able to do, boosts or things that might be able to help us?
Yeah, we're also going to take a look at promoted pins, which is like Pinterest form of advertising. And also Twitter has advertising. Instagram does not as of yet, but I'm sure that they will.
Does Google Plus have anything?
No,
Okay.
but we'll try everything because it's very budget friendly. What I'm finding, this isn't, you know, like a pay-per-click campaign where you're paying $2 every time somebody goes to your website. This is extremely cost-effective and measurable, so it's all good stuff. So, it's exciting. It's exciting to see it all kind of come together. Everybody want to do their part and get it done. So, questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other new or old business? Thanks again, Mary Ann. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Tabitha. And all the board members, thank you, and Donna for coming, and thank you for coming and keeping us recorded. I appreciate it. Kim, thank you for coming. Everyone who comes, you're very welcome here, and we appreciate having you here. You wanted the next meeting, or is there something?
Well,
else?
the only thing, was that, did we vote, I know that there's the, about the 2 p.m. workshop. Do we need to have a vote?
We did vote on
That's
that,
what I
and I
thought.
had the information to.
And not all board members, I mean, we just had to have a majority vote.
We did,
Okay.
and it was, I think we did that in the closing.
But that's
meeting,
okay.
too. So that has been done. And we did vote to continue having workshops at 2 o'clock. And begin the meeting.
Are we just gonna turn those into budget workshops now? Or are we gonna have
And,
budget workshops
workshops.
We
in
can
addition
turn that
to-
into budget workshops or the marketing plan or whatever we need to do, but I'll leave the marketing plan schedule up to you. I will get with Becky on the budget and, see where we need to head with that, because that does take us some time, and hopefully it'll go smoother than last year.
There you go.
Did a lot of the dirty work last year.
And then, since Nancy and Tabitha and Mary Ann have presented this to us in this promotion for the motorcycle raffle, do we want to take action on that?
I would suggest that we do, and if I hear a motion to go ahead with this,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal of the $2,500 to $3,000 expenditure to replace a portion of the motorcycle promotion monies already budgeted in the promotion line item.
And I second that.
okay, all in favor? All right, that's unanimous. And I am excited about this, ladies. I'm delighted to see y'all working together. And man, we're gonna see some good things coming here. And we are unique, and we have, everything we have is unique. I was just kind of chatting with Ravonda, we don't want to leave anybody out. And I guess I made the comment, pretty much everything in Graham County is unique. It's a different area, different people, different place, and I love it. Anything further? Okay.
Everybody's good with the next meeting, there's no, anything scheduled, I didn't see anything scheduled for the, March 12th.
Next meeting, March 12th, it'd be a 2 o'clock workshop, meeting at 3 o'clock, and that will
Community
be at
center?
and it will be at the community center. I'm pretty sure about that, okay. And we have a nice screen, and it's, go look, it's, I'm really proud of it, it's so good. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor?